Hello, hello, my dear viewers, my well wishers, my patrons, and my subscribers. Join the class, attend the class. I am live streaming, and today's topic of discussion is framing WH question or making an interrogative sentence with WH words. Okay, and I hope that you will learn how to make questions. For example, uh, two friends are going through a forest, and one of you one of you is asking another. One of you is asking another, whose garden is this? Whose garden is this? You see that is precedes this. So it is an interrogative sentence. Or you may frame a question with whom here. Anubhav, you have joined, and I am very happy to see you in my live streaming because it's the most important chapter in English grammar. Clear? Now you may frame a question with whom. Whom does this garden belong to? Whom does this garden belong to? Or whom does this forest belong to? Clear? You see that I am making the same question. But with different WH words. For example, first of all, I have made a question with whose. Whose garden is this? Or whose forest is this? And the next question is, whom does this garden belong to? Whom does this garden belong to? Clear? But meaning is the same. When you are using whom, you see that you have supplied an auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb. Hello, sir. I am very happy to see SG Tech. And it's very important to see that you have supplied an auxiliary verb, that is does. Whom does this garden or forest belong to? And when you are using whom, you must bring the auxiliary verb do. Clear? Now, the same question I am making. You see that who is the owner? Who is the owner of this forest? Who is the owner of this garden? And the answer is the same. If you frame a question with whose, if you frame a question with whose, and if you frame a question with who, but the content is the same. Content is the same because the answer is the same. You want to know the name of the owner of the forest. So I have given you three types of questions, but the answer is the same: whose, whom, and who. Clear? Now let us go to for example, who is the owner of this forest or garden, and at the same time, who does this forest or garden belong to? Here, who means whom. It's a peculiar thing that here, who means whom. Clear? Who is this garden belong to? So another use of who. Now I am going to tell you how to frame a question with how. For example, you have been suffering from fever accompanied with your headache, and the doctor has prescribed you medicines, and all of a sudden a friend of yours has come to meet you and ask you, hello Suman, how are you? How are you? That means, how is your physical condition? How are you? We generally say how are you to know the physical condition or the well-being of a person who has been suffering from any kind of ailment. Who are you? How are you? Clear? Now, how plus far suggests distance. For example, how far did you walk in the morning? How far did you walk in the morning? That means you are using past tense, and at the same time you are trying to get the covered by the person, and you are asking the question, how far did you walk in the morning? Clear? Now you may use how many. How many suggests number. Suppose a meeting was held in a maidan or a field, and your friend attended the meeting. Now you want to know the number of people assembled or gathered in the meeting. Then how will you ask? You will ask, how many people assembled in the political meeting? How many people assembled in the political meeting? But you see that here you can't use auxiliary verb, because by asking the question you are trying to know the subject. You are trying to learn the subject. When you are trying to learn how many people, that is the subject, you need not use auxiliary verb. How, friends, my well-wishers and my patrons, I hope that all of you will like, comment, share, and at the same time subscribe too, so that I may be encouraged, I may be inspired to give you the tidbits of grammar, practical sense of grammar, so that you can communicate with your friends, with your relatives, in the business places, in the marketplaces, etc. Therefore, when you are asking, when you are trying to get the subjects, you need not use auxiliary verb. Clear? Similarly, for example, what makes you laugh? Your teacher is asking in the classroom. What makes you laugh? Here you see that you have not brought do or does. What makes you laugh? Because by asking the question, you are trying to learn only the subject. Clear? What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? You see that what makes you cry, and you are trying to get the subject, and there is no need to supply auxiliary verb do or does. Now, how many? Suppose you went to market and there you bought 10 guavas, 10 guavas, and your father is asking you, how many guavas have you bought in the market? How many guavas have you bought in the market? It is in the present perfect tense. So you have brought the word bought. So how many guavas have you bought? Have is the auxiliary verb here. Have is the auxiliary verb as it is in the present perfect tense. Clear? But you have to bring the auxiliary verb. You are bound to bring the auxiliary verb. How many? Another example, how much? For example, you are trying to relish a delicious soup in a restaurant. Delicious soup in a restaurant. And I may ask you, how much soup do you want now? How much soup do you want now? How much is used in the sense of amount, liquid, etc. Suppose you want 2 teaspoonfuls of sugar in a cup of tea, and your mother may ask, how much sugar do you want in your cup of tea? How much sugar do you want in a cup of tea? Clear? So, how many suggests countable noun, and how much sugar, how much suggests quantity only, not countable but quantity. Clear? How much? You may use how long. For example, your examination is knocking at your door, and you have been preparing your lessons from 10 p.m. after dinner to 12 p.m. Then I may ask you, how long do you study at night? How long do you study at night? As the examination is knocking at your door. How long? How long can also be used to suggest or indicate distance. For example, Mr. Roy is a good sprinter. He can run 5 miles at a stretch. 5 miles at a stretch. The question may be framed in such a manner: how long can Mr. Roy run at a stretch? How far can Mr. Roy run at a stretch? Here you have brought only the auxiliary verb. One is can and the other is do or does. However, I have discussed whose, whom, who in double sense, how long, how far, how much, etc. Again, when time permits or allows me, I will give you more examples on WH questions and how to frame questions, and I will declare when I will be live streaming on my Facebook page. Thanking all of you. Goodbye. Like, comment, share and subscribe my channel, An Easy Step to English Grammar. Thanking all of you. चलो तो